Take a deep breath right now. Feel the air filling your lungs, sustaining your life. Do you realize that the same breath that spoke the universe into existence, the same divine wind that breathed life into Adam, the same powerful force that parted the Red Sea, that very breath of God flows through you at this very moment? You are not separate from the divine. You are not reaching toward a distant God in some far-off heaven. The Creator of all things has made his dwelling place within you. You carry the breath of the Almighty in your very being. And yet, so often, we live disconnected from this incredible truth, overwhelmed by anxiety and stress, forgetting the divine power that animates our every heartbeat. What if I told you that cultivating gratitude is not just about counting blessings, but about awakening to the divine presence that already dwells within you? Today, we're going to explore how the ancient wisdom of Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, can help you reconnect with the breath of God that flows through your very soul. Join me for the next few minutes as we discover how gratitude becomes a pathway to experiencing the God who lives not in some distant realm, but in the sacred space of your own being, breathing life into every moment of your existence. We live in an age where we have forgotten our true nature, surrounded by the constant noise of modern life, buzzing phones, endless notifications, overwhelming schedules. We have become disconnected from the most fundamental truth of our existence. We are temples of the living God. The divine breath that created galaxies and sparked life itself flows through us every moment, yet we often live as if we are alone, abandoned, struggling through life by our own limited strength. This disconnection from our divine nature is the root of so much anxiety and restlessness. When we forget that we carry the breath of the Almighty within us, we begin to see ourselves as separate, isolated beings trying to navigate an uncertain world. We reach outward for peace, searching for God in distant places, when the very presence we seek has already made its home within the sacred temple of our being. But there is another way to live. There is a practice that can awaken us to the divine reality that pulses through our veins, that animates our thoughts, that gives life to our dreams. The practice of gratitude is not merely about positive thinking or counting our blessings. It is about recognizing and celebrating the breath of God that sustains us in every moment. When we truly understand that we are made in God's image, that His Spirit dwells within us, that every breath we take is a participation in the divine life force that created and sustains all things, gratitude becomes something far more profound than a mental exercise. It becomes a recognition of our true identity as beloved children in whom the Creator has chosen to dwell. The ancient scriptures tell us that in God we live and move and have our being. This is not metaphor. This is the deepest reality of existence. The same creative power that spoke light into darkness, that breathed life into dust, that parted seas and moved mountains, that very power flows through you right now. Your heartbeat is the rhythm of divine love. Your breath is the whisper of eternal life. Modern science confirms what mystics have always known, that we are interconnected with all of creation, that the atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of stars, that we are literally made of the same substance as the cosmos itself. But more than scientific fact, this is spiritual truth. We are not separate from the divine source of all life. We are expressions of it, vessels of it, temples in which the breath of God finds its home. Today, we're going to explore how the Apostle Paul's words in Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 can help us remember this truth. We'll discover how gratitude becomes a pathway not to reaching God, but to recognizing the God who already dwells within us, breathing life into our souls with every sacred breath. Let us turn our attention to these profound words from the Apostle Paul, written not as instructions for reaching toward a distant deity, but as guidance for communing with the divine presence that already dwells within us. Listen with your whole being to this sacred truth. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. When Paul writes, "Do not be anxious," he is calling us back to our true nature as beings in whom God's Spirit dwells. The Greek word merimnao means to be pulled apart, to be divided in mind, to forget our wholeness. Anxiety arises when we forget that we are not alone, when we lose connection with the divine breath that sustains us, when we try to carry burdens with our limited human strength instead of drawing upon the infinite power that flows through our very being. But notice the beautiful solution Paul offers. He doesn't tell us to pray to a God who is far away. He invites us into communion with the divine presence that is closer to us than our own breath. When he says, "Present your requests to God," he is speaking of an intimate conversation with the sacred spirit that animates your very soul. The word thanksgiving here, Eucharistia in Greek, carries profound meaning. It is not merely saying thank you for external blessings. It is recognizing and celebrating the divine life that flows through us. It is acknowledging that every breath we take is a gift of God's own life force. It is gratitude for the incredible truth that the Creator of the universe has chosen to make his dwelling place within us. Think about the revolutionary nature of this understanding. We are not begging a distant deity for favors. We are communing with the divine presence that knows our needs before we speak them, that feels our pain because it dwells within us, that celebrates our joy because our joy is God's joy expressed through human experience. When we approach gratitude from this perspective, everything changes. We're not just thankful for things that happen to us. We're grateful for the divine life that expresses itself through us. We're not just counting external blessings. We're celebrating the breath of God that gives us the capacity to experience blessing at all. This is why practices like gratitude journaling become so powerful when we understand our true nature. We're not just recording good things that happen to us. We're documenting the ways that God's presence has expressed itself through our lives, the ways that divine breath has moved through our experiences, the countless moments when the sacred has touched the ordinary through our very being. The connection between gratitude and peace becomes clear when we realize that peace is not something we must seek outside ourselves. Peace is the natural state of a soul that remembers its divine nature. When we live in gratitude for the breath of God that flows through us, when we recognize that we are temples of the living Spirit, anxiety dissolves because we remember that we are never alone, never unsupported, never without the infinite resources of divine love. Every breath you take is a prayer. Every heartbeat is a hymn of praise. Every moment of awareness is communion with the divine presence that has chosen you as its dwelling place. This is the foundation of true gratitude, not thankfulness for external circumstances, but celebration of the sacred life that animates your very existence. Now, let us enter into sacred communion with the divine presence that dwells within you. If you're able, find a comfortable position where you can sit quietly for the next few minutes. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your chest. If you're unable to close your eyes, simply let your awareness turn inward to the breath that sustains you. Begin by taking a slow, conscious breath. As you breathe in, remember that you are drawing in the very breath of God, the same divine wind that hovered over the waters at creation, the same life-giving spirit that breathed into Adam's nostrils. This is not merely air entering your lungs. This is the breath of the Almighty flowing into the temple of your being. Feel your chest rise and fall. This rhythm that has sustained you since your first moment of life is the rhythm of divine love. Your heartbeat is the drumbeat of God's presence within you. You are not breathing alone. You are breathing with the Creator of the universe, participating in the very life force that sustains all creation. As we breathe together, let's bring to mind the words of Philippians 4:6, but now understanding them in their deepest truth. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. You are not speaking to someone far away. You are communing with a divine presence that knows your heart, because it dwells within your heart. Take another conscious breath, and as you exhale, release any sense of separation from the divine. You are not alone. You have never been alone. The same power that spoke galaxies into existence flows through your veins. The same love that created mountains and oceans beats within your chest. Now, let's cultivate gratitude from this place of divine connection. First, place your awareness on your breath itself. Feel grateful not just for the air, but for the divine life force that gives you the capacity to breathe. Thank the God who dwells within you for the gift of this sacred breath that connects you to all of creation. Breathe in divine love. Breathe out sacred gratitude. Now bring to mind your body, this temple that houses the Spirit of the living God. Feel gratitude for your heart that beats with divine rhythm, for your hands that can touch and bless, for your eyes that can see the beauty of God's creation, for your voice that can speak words of love. You are not just grateful for your body. You are grateful that God has chosen your body as a dwelling place for divine presence. Feel the divine life flowing through every cell of your being. You are made in God's image, not just spiritually, but physically. Your very flesh is sacred, animated by the breath of the Almighty. Now think of the people in your life, but see them with new eyes. Recognize that they too carry the breath of God within them. The divine presence that dwells in you also dwells in them. When you love another person, you are loving God expressing through human form. Feel gratitude for the ways that God has touched your life through other people who carry divine breath. Breathe in the recognition of divine presence in all beings. Breathe out love for the God who dwells in every heart. Let's expand our awareness even further. Think of the natural world around you, the trees that breathe with you, the waters that flow with divine life, the earth that pulses with sacred energy. All of creation is animated by the same breath that flows through you. You are not separate from nature. You are part of the divine tapestry of life, connected to all things through the breath of God. Feel your connection to the wind in the trees, to the rhythm of the ocean, to the turning of the earth. The same divine force that moves the planets moves through your being. Now, from this place of deep connection to divine presence, bring to God any concerns or requests that are on your heart. But bring them knowing that you are not asking a distant deity for help. You are communing with the divine wisdom that already dwells within you, that already knows your needs, that already loves you with infinite compassion. Feel the peace that comes from remembering who you truly are, a beloved temple of the living God, a sacred vessel through which divine love flows into the world. Take one more deep, conscious breath. As you inhale, draw in the fullness of divine presence. As you exhale, release any remaining anxiety or fear. You are held. You are loved. You are never alone because the breath of God lives within you. When you're ready, gently open your eyes if they were closed, carrying with you the awareness that every breath you take is a sacred communion with the divine presence that has made its home within you. The meditation we just shared together has awakened you to a profound truth. You carry the breath of God within you, but the real transformation happens when you live from this awareness throughout your day. when every moment becomes an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the divine presence that flows through your being and all of creation. First, begin each day with breath awareness. Before you reach for your phone or rush into your schedule, take 5 conscious breaths. Remember that you are awakening not just your body, but the temple of divine presence. Feel grateful, not just for a new day, but for the sacred opportunity to be a vessel through which God's love can flow into the world. Write in your gratitude journal, not just what you're thankful for, but how you've experienced divine presence in your life. Instead of simply listing family, health, job, write with deeper awareness. I'm grateful that divine love expresses itself through my family relationships. I'm thankful that God's life force flows through my body, giving me strength and vitality. I recognize that my work is an opportunity for divine creativity to manifest through my unique gifts. Second, transform everyday moments into sacred communion. When you're stuck in traffic, instead of frustration, breathe consciously and remember that the same divine breath that sustains you also sustains every person in every car around you. Thank God for the opportunity to practice patience, for the car that provides transportation, for being part of the great web of life where divine presence moves through all beings. Third, when you express gratitude to others, do so with the awareness that you are recognizing divine presence speaking to divine presence. When you thank someone for their kindness, you are celebrating the way God's love has flowed through them to touch your life. When you tell your family members what you appreciate about them, you are acknowledging the unique ways that divine breath expresses itself through their being. Fourth, transform your meals into celebrations of divine provision. Before eating, place your hands on your heart and remember that you are nourishing not just your body, but the temple that houses God's Spirit. Thank the divine presence that flows through the farmers who grew your food, through the earth that provided nutrients, through the sun and rain that made growth possible. Recognize that eating is a sacred act of receiving divine life through physical form. Fifth, spend time in nature with the awareness that you are communing with the same divine breath that animates all creation. When you see a tree, remember that it breathes with you. You exhale carbon dioxide that it needs. It exhales oxygen that you need. You are partners in the sacred dance of life. When you hear birds singing, recognize that they are expressing the joy of divine presence, just as you do when you laugh or sing. The benefits of practicing gratitude from this perspective of divine awareness extend far beyond improved mood or better health. When you live with the constant recognition that you carry God's breath within you, that divine presence flows through every moment of your existence, you begin to experience life as the sacred adventure it truly is. You stop feeling like you're struggling through life alone and start experiencing yourself as a beloved expression of divine love. You stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start recognizing them as opportunities for divine strength to manifest through you. You stop feeling separate from others and start experiencing the profound connection that comes from knowing that the same sacred breath flows through all beings. Here's your invitation for this week. Choose to live from the awareness that you are a temple of the living God. Let every breath remind you of divine presence. Let every heartbeat be a prayer of gratitude. Let every interaction be an opportunity to recognize God, expressing through human form. Remember, you are not trying to become spiritual. You are awakening to the spiritual reality that you already are. You are not reaching toward God. You are recognizing the God who has already made his dwelling place within you. You are not seeking divine love. You are celebrating the divine love that you are. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to remind you of the incredible truth we've explored today. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are not a body that occasionally connects with God. You are a temple in which God has chosen to dwell permanently. The gratitude we've cultivated today is not just a practice. It is a recognition of your true nature as a beloved expression of divine love. When you choose gratitude, you are not just thinking positive thoughts. You are aligning with the divine consciousness that flows through your being. You are remembering who you truly are. The peace that Paul writes about in Philippians, the peace that surpasses all understanding, is not something you must earn or achieve. It is the natural state of a soul that remembers its divine nature. It flows from the recognition that you are never alone, because the breath of the Almighty sustains you in every moment. I encourage you to carry this awareness with you beyond this video. Let every breath remind you of the sacred life that flows through you. Let every heartbeat be a celebration of divine presence. Let every moment be an opportunity to recognize God, expressing through your unique and beautiful being. Let me close our time together with a blessing that honors the divine breath within you. Beloved temple of the living God, may you always remember that the same breath that created the stars flows through your being. May you know that the same love that formed the mountains beats within your heart. May you recognize that the same power that parted the seas moves through your life in every moment. May your breath be a constant reminder of divine presence. May your heartbeat be a hymn of praise. May your life be a celebration of the sacred truth that God has chosen you as a dwelling place for infinite love. When anxiety tries to convince you that you are alone, may you remember the divine breath that sustains you. When fear whispers that you are powerless, may you recall the creative force of the universe that flows through your veins. When doubt suggests that you are unworthy, may you know that you are made in the very image of God. May you see divine presence in every person you meet, knowing that they too carry the breath of God within them. May you recognize sacred life in every creature, every tree, every flowing stream, knowing that all creation breathes with the same divine spirit that animates your being. May your gratitude be not just for what you receive, but for who you are, a beloved expression of divine love, a sacred vessel through which God's presence flows into the world, a temple in which the breath of the Almighty finds its home. Go in peace, beloved one, knowing that you carry within you the very breath of God. Live from this truth. Breathe from this awareness. Love from this divine nature that is your deepest reality. Thank you for joining me in this sacred remembering. May the breath of God within you bless the breath of God in all beings.